Once upon a time, in the land of Israel, there lived a woman in a town called Shunem. She wasn't rich or famous, but she was known for her kindness and generosity. This woman, whose name we don't know, had a heart as vast as the sky. One day, something remarkable happened. A man of God named Elisha passed through her town. Now, Elisha was no ordinary man. He was a prophet, someone who spoke with God and did amazing things. When the Shunammite woman saw Elisha, she recognized him as a holy man. So without hesitation, she invited him over for a meal. It wasn't a grand feast, just a simple gesture of hospitality. Elisha was touched by her kindness. He felt a warmth in his heart, knowing that there were still good people in the world. He decided to repay her kindness in a special way. Turning to his servant Gehazi, Elisha said, "What can we do for her? Can we speak to the king on her behalf or provide her with some assistance?" Gehazi thought for a moment and replied, "Well, she doesn't have a child and her husband is old." Elisha's heart swelled with compassion. He knew that having a child was the deepest desire of the Shunammite woman's heart. So he made her a promise. "By this time next year, you will hold a son in your arms," he said. The Shunammite woman couldn't believe her ears. After years of longing and hoping, her dream was finally coming true. She laughed with joy, her heart singing with gratitude. True to Elisha's word, the following year, the Shunammite woman gave birth to a baby boy. Her joy knew no bounds. She cradled her son in her arms, marveling at the miracle that had been bestowed upon her. As the years passed, the boy grew strong and healthy. He was the light of his parents' lives, a constant source of joy and laughter. But as we know, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. One day, tragedy struck. The boy fell ill suddenly, his body racked with fever. Despite all efforts to save him, his condition worsened, and he died in his mother's arms. Can you imagine the anguish the Shunammite woman must have felt? To lose her precious son, the very child she had longed for and been blessed with, was a pain beyond measure. But the Shunammite woman was not one to give up easily. With her son's lifeless body in her arms, she set out on a journey to find Elisha, the man of God who had given her son to her in the first place. When she found Elisha, she fell at his feet, her heart pouring out in grief. my son," she cried. "Why did you give me this child only to take him away from me?" Elisha was deeply moved by her pain. He knew that he had to do something to help her, to bring her son back to life. So he sent his servant Gehazi ahead with his staff, instructing him to lay it on the boy's face. But the Shunammite woman wasn't about to leave her son's side. She insisted on going with Gehazi. When they arrived at the house where the boy lay, Elisha entered, closed the door behind him, and prayed earnestly to God. He pleaded for the life of the boy, asking for a miracle to bring him back from the dead. And miraculously, the boy's body grew warm, his chest rising and falling as he took a deep breath. He opened his eyes, blinking in the light, and looked around, as if waking from a long sleep. The Shunammite woman couldn't believe her eyes. Her son was alive. Tears of joy streamed down her face as she embraced him tightly, thanking God for the miracle that had been bestowed upon them. Elisha instructed the Shunammite woman to take her son and go home, to cherish every moment they had together. And so she did, holding her son close, her heart overflowing with gratitude and wonder. The story of the Shunammite woman teaches us many things. It reminds us of the power of faith, the strength of a mother's love, and the miracles that can happen when we believe in the goodness of God. But there's one story that really stands out. See, there's this army commander, a man named Naaman, and he's got leprosy, which is like this really bad skin disease. And he's desperate for a cure, so he comes to Elisha, hoping he can help him out. But here's the thing, Elisha doesn't even bother to come out and see him. He just sends a messenger instead, with some simple instructions. Go wash in the Jordan River 7 times, and you'll be healed. Now Naaman, he's not too happy about this. I mean, he's a big shot commander, used to giving orders, not taking them. And here's Elisha telling him to go wash in some dirty river. But his servants, they convince him to give it a shot, and sure enough, he comes out of the water completely healed. Can you imagine the look on his face? But here's where things get really interesting. See Naaman, he's so grateful for what Elisha did for him that he wants to give him a big reward. But Elisha, he won't take it. He's not in it for the money or the fame.